episode of Mindset Monday. I hope you're enjoying your Monday, or if it's a Tuesday, wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying your day. Because guess what? This is the day that we are alive to see and understand that we are here on purpose. In my previous sections last week, I had my sister Veronica coming to share her story. Her story continues, and her story will be told through the eyes of her children. How did they cope during the time that my sister Veronica Elise was going through her journey with breast cancer? My sister, she had four children she has, but the one will be sharing the journey, and I would be happy that you're here to hear how children do cope. Because, of course, whenever we go through something, understand that these children, they feel it. They may not be able to share how they are feeling, or they may not be able to identify, especially when they were young. But you will hear this evening how they overcame, how they go through, how they cope during the time their mother go through her challenging journey of breast cancer. And coming to the studio right now is Alaric Powell.
Hey Auntie, what's up?
Hello, Alaric. It's so nice to see you, to have you on this program. The
It's
last
pretty.
time the last time we saw each other was the surprise to your other brother at the hotel. So it's good to see you again, and I'm so happy that you're able to join me today.
Yeah, it's
Now,
good to be back, Auntie. Good to be back.
awesome. Now, if you can just introduce yourself so the listeners will know who you are, and we'll take it from there.
All right. So, as my auntie said earlier, my name is Alec Powell. I am the son of Miss Veronica Powell that spoke last week on the program. I am the last one of four, and I always say that the best comes last. I think I am the best. I don't tell my brothers I said that though. Don't tell them. Well, yeah, man, I am number four, the youngest of the batch. Yeah, my brothers, they always say four brothers, four different minds. We're each unique in our own way. We do have certain collective understandings and appreciations of certain things, namely our mother. All of us love her equal, and all of us want the best for her. But we do have our own different personalities and intricacies. But I am me, and I'll be sharing things from my perspective along with their perspective to some extent that they've explained to me, and we see how this goes.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Alaric. And as we share our uniqueness, it is important that as parents, as siblings, as friends, as co workers, we do not compare. And it's the tendency of human to compare. But it's important that we do not compare each other because we're all unique. We have unique traits, and that's how we complement each other. All right. Now, my first question to Alric today is, Alric, how did you cope? How did you feel the first time you learned about your mother's diagnosis?
Well, to be honest with that one, Auntie, when mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2008, I believe, I was still pretty young. I was in grade one, so I don't really fully remember everything then. I do have a few bits and pieces of the memories, but then I do remember as a young child, I didn't fully understand what it meant. I just understood that mommy was sick and she would then be having to go to the hospital to get better. That was how my brain was processing that event at the time. Really and truly, when I really understood what it meant was years after she had already gone through everything, and we were like catching up as a family, and we're talking about spa stories, and my brothers and her were talking about it, and I was like, I know I really didn't fully understand what was going on back then and how serious the situation could have been. Because really and truly, she was in a life threatening situation. And as a young child, my brain just couldn't process that severity at the time. So I guess my way of coping at that time was just to remain a child and just, hey, it's like a flu. You cough a few times, you go to the doctor, doctor gives you a medicine and a lollipop, and you're good to go again. So that's how my brain was coping at that time. But then I do have a few other memories where they were, as mommy shared last week, during her time when she was going through her chemo, she had lost her hair. And what we used to do, we used to call her the monk. So I had the habit of whenever I would see her, I would do like this namaste as just like a play on words for that attribute. Because for me, it was my way of just making a heavy situation light. Because even as a child, I still understood that dwelling on a negative situation doesn't make it any better. The only way to make a negative situation better is to add positivity. And that was our little way of doing it for our mother. Because I wasn't the only one. My older brothers, we all played in on the joke and realized that even though our mother was sad that she was losing her hair because her hair was beautiful, I can remember that much, beautiful, and she did feel losing it. Us making it into just a appreciated joke made it feel like, in my opinion, made it feel like it wasn't a big deal. It was something that would just come for a time and go. Yeah,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I am so happy that you actually put a little twist on it. You use the negative situation, add something positive, and the ride is more enjoyable. Of course, it's like you're going through the rocky roads of Jamaica, and then you have to glide over those big stones or the potholes, and you have jokes in the car, so it makes the journey a little lighter.
precisely.
And as a young child, and you see all of this, very good coping mechanism. You think of it is just as a flu. You'll get an injection, you get some medication, and you'll feel better soon after. So that's a good way to go through it, because of course, if you had looked at it as, oh my goodness, she's going to die tomorrow, I know it would have affected you much, much more.
True.
My next question is, what were some of the ways you tried to support your mom during the treatment? I know you said one was to give her the royal treatment, Namaste, when you see the monk coming. What other ways did you support her during her time of
Well,
treatment?
whenever our father would bring her to the university hospital to do her chemo once, there were a few times they would just take me from school, so I wouldn't go to school that day, just accompany her. So I would just be there. As I said, I was still a young child. I would just be there, messing around with her, keeping her company, because really and truly, at that time, that is really the extent of what a young child could do. Just be a child and give her something to look at and smile about, and to say, hey, I'm going to get through this because my son is here with me and he wants his mother to be around. So I just use my presence to say, hey, mommy, you have something to stay around for. So whatever comes, you take your two fists, you punch it through, and you come out victorious. That is inevitable. Your victory is inevitable.
Wow. Your victory is inevitable. And although you were not able to comprehend the vastness of the situation, you stood there by her side, going with her to her treatment, letting her know that on the lighter side, mommy, you have something more to live for. So you gotta go through this strong. finish strong. That is magnificent. Magnificent. My next question: was there anything that helped you to cope? Of course, you answered that question already. So I'm just going to jump to the next question. How has your mom's journey affected your outlook on life?
To be honest, the I do believe there was some or subconscious impact at the time when I was younger on my mentality through the situation. But really and truly, when I became conscious of, or when conscious modifications to my mentality were made based on the situation, but when I was really looking back on it as an older individual, as a more cognizant person, when we were discussing the situation, I was like, I really, really actually know have knowledge about what breast cancer really is and the severity of it in certain cases, the amount of persons who have died and all that, the negativity that's generally surrounded by it in the general public. Then I realized that really and truly, to another person, what my mother went through and was smiling through was something another person would have looked on as their final lease on life. And it gave me the perspective that one, life is very fragile and anything can come about, because my mother used to say that when she was growing up, she would hear about the different remedies and herbal mixtures that you could take to prevent cancer. And those are things that she would be living on, and then she still caught it. And even though she still caught it, she still had the courage to say, hey, even though those things that I thought would have prevented this didn't prevent it, that doesn't mean that I can't get through this since it's already here. And it gave me the perspective to say, hey, unexpected things can happen in life no matter how you think you're preparing for it. But what really causes the impact on your life, what really makes the difference is how you handle it after it comes. So yes, you buy a car, you put insurance on the car, you're saying that, hey, insurance is to cover damages for your car, etc., etc., etc. But the scenario comes where your car crashes in a case where your insurance decides not to cover it. And you're gonna think that, oh, or you're the person that caused the accident. You have an insurance that doesn't cover everything. They say, hey, your third party insurance can fix the person's car, but it can't fix yours. What are you going to do? You need a car. Just because the situation seems to be dire and another person's in that situation would give up, that doesn't mean it's the end. It's a case where once you decide to fight through something, that sheer willpower to survive, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. It can make a desperate situation come through as something that I was seen as irresolvable can become resolved just through sheer willpower and having the mindset that, hey, this is not over. I can still push through this and go forward. My mother taught me that. She taught me that after going through everything and really sharing back the experience to me as an older person. Say, hey, no, really and truly, chemo was rough. She would be telling me about the pain she went through. When her fingertips were basically melting out because the chemotherapy was vaporizing the cells in her body in order to kill the cancer cells as well. So good cells were suffering for the body. But even with that pain, she would still do what she can for us. She would still take care of me, get me ready for school and all those things, even though she was feeling pain. And that gave, when I really look up on it, it gives me the perspective that, hey, love is real. Love is real. And the love that she had for me to be able to fight through that pain and still take care of me that to that extent makes me want to do that for whosoever I can going forward. When I have my children, I'm going to make sure that it doesn't matter if it's a case where they're supposed to go to school and their school fee is 10,000 and I have 10,500 in my pocket. I'm not gonna say, oh, I need that 5,000 to put gas in my car, or I need that 5,000 to do this or do that. It's for them. I'll make the sacrifice for them because that's what my mother did for me. You know what I mean? So that's the perspective it gave to me. It gave me a perspective of survival and love for who you care about despite the situation.
Wow. I hear so much good things coming from you: survival, love, commitment, dedication, all of those encompassing words. And coming from you as a child, you are actually living what you saw your parents, your mother go through. Because as you spoke earlier, you said when your dad took your mom to the doctor for treatment, you were there at some point with them. So I realize, as you're saying, a community helps you to go through things, and you are feeling much more relieved while you go through those challenging situations. It is really an awesome feeling when you have community, when you have family, when you have people who are loving on you. Although you're all unique, we're all unique, family, friends. However, in our uniqueness, we support each other in
That's it.
whatever way we can. And I know you have a few words from your brothers who were not able to be on the program. You could just share their names, and then you could say, you know, what they gave you. How did they cope? How did they what did they do in order to help her during her treatment?
All right. So, my three other brothers are by from oldest to youngest before me. We would have Real and Powell, aka Vaughn. He's the oldest of us. Then second to him would have been my other brother Melvin Powell, aka Zoom. That's the nickname we have for him. And then the youngest before I came along, Tafar Powell, aka Taf. So my three brothers, at the time, based on discussions we've had over the years about the situation, Vaughn specifically, he shared with me that at the time his main duty in the situation as he saw it was just to continue to do what he could in the house, because he was the one living here mainly. So he would continue to help around the house as best as he could. Any duty that mom would have that he could assist with, he would do it. So like for example, mom wants some coconuts to make her rice and peas, but she can't necessarily chop up the coconuts because she's weak from the therapy. He would take that on himself. Don't worry, mom, I may have that, mom, I have that. Get his cutlass, ox it out, break it up, get ready for her. So it's a less load on her. My other brother Melbourne that followed him, he funny story about him. My mother told me that when he was younger, or before he was born, they were expecting a daughter. So they had the female names and everything picked out for him. And then when he came about, he was a boy. There was like that was unexpected, but hey, he's still their child. And then over the years now, I don't know if it was by some fate, but he still being a man, he took on certain roles that a daughter wouldn't necessarily take on. Like he would help mom with the washing of the plates and the tidying of the house and everything. And that is something he still kept on doing through her time when she was sick. And he took it on more onto himself. So uh, Vaughn would be taking care of like the manual labor of cutting out coconuts, taking care of the yard itself. Then Zoom would handle things inside. So the place will be washing. Need to wash the clothes, he'll handle it for mom. If you need to cook and mom can't cook this evening, he'll handle the cooking as well. That's what he would do. And then my other brother Tafari, Tafari did something that I personally truly commend, and it's a tactic that I've adopted from him to some extent. He decided that even though he was at the time the youngest besides me being like the very very young one, he took on certain manly roles in order to supplement things, because even though our father was still there, the main breadwinner and everything, it was still a lot on him to be both taking care of mom in this situation and also keeping his mind on taking care of everybody else. It was a lot for our father. So what Tafari did, Tafari began to work with our father on the truck and everything. So it's less stress on him, mainly working alone. So Tafari decided to say, hey, I'm gonna support mom by supporting dad that's supporting mom, and passing on the connection of love through that medium. So that's how they went about it. I do believe they had their own personal things as well as the how they coped and everything that they didn't want to share with me, because we as men, we don't like to necessarily be too vulnerable. Even though we're brothers, we still like to keep certain things a bit to our heart. You know what I mean? So I do believe that they do have their own personal hidden feelings about the situation and what went through, but that's what they were able to share with me, so I could share with you guys as well.
Awesome, awesome. Taff told me that he's very shy, so he would allow you to deliver um, whatever vocal he has to say. And
Yeah,
I am privileged to hear it again, not only not from my sister's side, but to hear it from coming from you. And it is really a joy to know that as a child, as a young child, and of course, the other three siblings, you were able to assist your mother and your father in any little way possible to make the burden lighter.
it's as they
That
say, every mickle make a muckle.
definitely, definitely. That's the value of community, the value of a supportive network. And as Alric spoke, we can see whether it's cancer, although we're highlighting breast cancer awareness this month, whatever situation that you go through, if you have a community, if you have a supportive background, the journey will be more manageable. You can actually take a deep breath at any stage of the journey because you have support. You have a support system to keep you going.
It's true. No man is an island. No man stands alone.
Definitely. I have one more question. What are some of the positive changes or strengths you have noticed in your mom since her recovery?
To be honest, the greatest one that I can confirm without a doubt that I've seen is her overall confidence. Right? Mom shared her story last week, and she highlighted that during her upbringing as a young girl, she be put into the church. So her growing up was a bit rough, to say the least. And it gave her confidence issues because of how her school life went and all of that. So I do recall a few times back before everything transpired where she was a bit timid in certain situations, but then I've seen it over the years where going through the chemo at the hospitals, she just shared she was there during her surgery or during her chemo time, encouraging new cancer patients who were coming in and ones that were there to say, "Hey, I'm going through it. You guys can go through it with me." That experience, I believe, gave her the confidence to say, "Hey, I have a purpose. There's something I can do. I can share my story and bring someone giving someone confidence that they can survive, bring someone hope that they can survive because she did it." And I've seen it where even on your program last week, she was not afraid to open up and share to say, "Hey, this is how I went through it, and you can do it too." That's something that I think is growth because even as my brother said, he's shy. You know what to come on and speak. My mother was just the same. She was shy. This is something I don't believe should have been willing to do before, but because the experience gave her the context to broaden her horizons and actually have to open up to give persons hope, gave her that purpose to say, "Hey, I can be a signal of hope to persons to say, hey, survival is there because I did it, and from I did it, you can do it too." So that's something I definitely noticed with her, a growth in her, and it's something I personally commend as her son. And even with that, it could transitions to church as well. Church is her church system beyond also as her family supported her so much, and it's something I really do appreciate for them as well. If any of them are watching, on behalf of me personally and my brothers, we do appreciate the support you gave to our mom in that time. She gave her thanks. We're giving our thanks on her behalf and our behalf as well. But yeah, the growth that she got through the experience she had out there, and then the support that they gave her, gave her the willingness to support others because she got support from persons as well. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. It is very, I'm lost for words just hearing how you express what you have felt, what you have seen, and what you have experienced for yourself and also for the persons around your mom, not only the our immediate family community, we have a big family, but of course other people, friends, church family, as you highlighted, were there to support. And it goes right back. No man is an island. We are all here to complement each other because we go through situations, we have challenges, but we are here to complement each other, lift each other up, and share in our uniqueness as we traverse this part of the world. Now, I just want you to share, just give me a little sequence as to your childhood, your accomplishment through school to present.
All right. Well, probably can probably start from primary school. We went into primary school, went through grade one, two, and three. In grade one, I was still getting into this whole academic group. I was a bit troublesome to say the least, a bit not very troublesome, but I had my little issues with school that I didn't like. So I would not necessarily be paying attention in class as much. I more wanted to play rather than take up a book and study. But then before I went to grade two, there was a teacher by the name of Miss Anderson. She saw me one day. She said, "Hey, when you come to grade two, you be coming to my class, and I'm going to change that behavior that you have." She told me point blank. And then when I went to her class, Miss Anderson pushed me. I'm talking grade two. She pushed me. She pushed me to the point where I had no choice but to shape up and take the book this seriously. And because of her, I got the mentality and the desire to want to learn. And that brought me through her grade to grade three. I got to grade four. When I got to grade four, at the time we were doing literacy and numeracy tests. When I did my numeracy test, I got perfect marks. And I believe I got 94, 95 on the literacy, highest in my school, one of the highest in the areas at the time. To the point where they wanted me to skip the other grade and just go straight to GSAT. They wanted me to do GSAT from that time because I had shown that potential. And really and truly, I personally attribute the showing of that potential to Miss Anderson that had identified it and forced me to bring it out. Fast forward though, did grade four, did grade five, went to GSAT. Sat my GSATs, I got a 98% passing average. I got 200s, 95, 98, 96 as the passing grade, if I recall correctly. Transition to dental technical. Of my choice, it was my first choice. At the time when I passed, a lot of persons were telling me, "Hey, why not go to a town school, Kingston College, JC College, Jamaica College? They have a better programs, etc., etc. Dental is not gonna push you anywhere, etc., etc." Just because I had the average to go to those schools, and my mother said to me, "The school doesn't make you; you make the school. You can go anywhere and learn. It doesn't matter if you're going to JC or dental. So if you're willing to learn, you will." She told me that, and I said, "Okay, cool. I appreciate it." And I chose Intel, went there, um, went through Intel from grade 7 to grade 11. When I did my CXCs, I did 9 CXCs. I got 7 1s and 2 2s. Five of those ones are in straight A profiles. My school referred to them as distinctions, and I got two distinctions in City and Guilds as well. And then I went to sixth form. I did lower six, and I got four Cape subjects. I don't recall the passing grade. I believe I got uh, two threes, one, two, and a four, if I recall correctly. It was around this time when I was doing Cape that the situation of my father had. had passed away because from in high school at grade 8, he went to do a surgery. It didn't go so well. Yeah, he was in the hospital. So basically through my life, my high school life, the majority of it I was both juggling that on my mind while trying to handle school. It didn't really let it affect me and my work too much. And hence I was able to come through those passes. But then when I finished sixth form, I was faced with the choice of, do I continue with sixth form or do I take a detour in life and decide to work? When the situation that I was in at the time and my options, I decided to go to work. I first worked for a call center, doing technical support for one of their clients. I then transitioned from there to digital, which is one of the major telecommunication companies on the island, in Jamaica. I worked there for some time, did well, and then I got offered to go overseas to work, which is the job I'm currently in now. I work for a company called Royal Caribbean. It's a cruise line, and I just completed my first contract. It was a very eye-opening experience, just because my first time traveling, taking a plane, was through them. I got to do that. That's something I always wanted to do, and then I got the opportunity to see the world. I've been to countless countries at this point. I've been to Mondstadt, I've been to Antigua, I've been to St. Lucia, I've been to St. Kitts, I've been to the Bahamas, I've been to Barbados, I've been to Santorini, Greece, I've been to Mykonos, Greece, I've been to Italy, France, Portugal, Spain. Seeing these places in real life, trust me, is an experience that I wish for anyone to have. It shows you it shows you really and truly how big the world is and how different the world can be as well. Because how we do things in the Caribbean is different from how they do things in Europe and how they do things in the US. And you don't understand it until you see it for yourself. You're always talking about uniqueness. This is the perfect example of it. When you see a different culture that is completely different from yours, it makes you appreciate the fact that it makes you understand and appreciate how different persons can be. We still live, we still can agree with each other, even though the persons in Europe and me would have different cultures per se. When we're there, they treat us like anybody else. They didn't cast us aside because we were different. Just because we're unique, it doesn't make us disagreeable. Once you're willing to accept your uniqueness and accept another person's uniqueness to say, hey, you are you, I am me. I support who you are and you support who I am. We're all good. There's no need for any negativity. We love and appreciate each other because we understand that we are different and different isn't bad. So I got a bit off topic with the experience, but yeah, that's basically been the path of my life so far. So I'm just continuing. I do have future plans to go back to school and everything, but that's currently where I'm at this time.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your life's journey. Although you're young, you sound like you have lived. You have lived so many years already. That is wonderful. In your final wrapping up summary, how would you what advice would you give to young person or an adult right now who is going through the situation of a parent going through a sickness, going through cancer, since we're talking about cancer, but going through a situation as a child, what would you be able to say to them that to help them go through that?
Well, pulling from my experience with both mom going through her cancer and then my father going through his illness at the time that subsequently led to his passing on. What I would say is this: to anybody that's in a similar situation where your mother or your father or even your brother or sister, anybody that you really care about is going through a sickness or in a severe situation, right? The first thing I would say is this: two wrongs can never make a right. In terms of, if you see somebody struggling, you should not be adding more struggle to them. If your mother is in pain, you should not be giving her more pain. You should instead be relief of that pain in whatever way you can. I'm not saying so. It's not a case where there's always multiple ways to do something. You don't have to necessarily be a doctor so you can give her pain medication to alleviate her pain. But if you can at least spend time with your parents, something as simple as that goes a long way. Sometimes all a person really wants is just know that they are not alone in a situation, that they have somebody that cares for them and is willing to support them as they fight. That's what at times all a person really needs. So if it's a case you can't do something physical, you can't pay for the medical bills or whatever, you can, that's good enough. If you can, that's good. But if you can't, at least try to be some form of mental support. If it can't be some form of physical support. But at the end of the day, you should not be the person that's adding problems as compared to supporting the person through their problems. That's what I would say. Just continue, just try your best to be a supportive system in whatever way you can. I do understand that it affects you. It affects you as well. And you yourself will need support. But you also have to understand that sometimes in life you have to there's a give and a take, really and truly. Sometimes in life you have to fight through what you're fighting through in order to help someone else to fight. And then what you'll realize is that when you help that person to fight through their thing while you're fighting through yours, you will get the support that you need as well. Trust me to come. But whenever you can, whenever you can support someone through something, do it. In whatever way you see fit. It's all a matter of just being that supportive system. It works. It might you just hugging your mother when she's crying might seem as if it's something trivial, but it helps. Because guess what? You hugging her, you're being a shoulder for her to cry on. You hugging your father, you're being a shoulder for him to cry on. Your brother, your sister, your friend, your girlfriend, your wife, whosoever it is, you're being a shoulder for them to cry on, a shoulder for them to relieve some of the pressure that they've built up inside because of the situation. And it allows them to go through because if you have a pipe and you put a stop on the pipe and you're constantly pumping pressure into the pipe, the pressure does become backed up. And if the pressure doesn't have a way to escape, it's going to make a way by exploding the pipe. So to prevent the pipe from exploding, you have a valve. So when you realize that there's too much pressure, you turn the valve, release some of the pressure, close it again. The pressure is building up, you turn the valve. Your job is to turn that valve for the person that's suffering. Release some of the pressure for them in whatever way you can. So yeah.
Wow. Relieving the pressure by turning the valve. That can be an entire series all on its own. I will definitely have you back another time just to share
No
with.
problem.
And I hear you talk on the aspect of a child, and you're also sharing with parents how they can actually help their children go through the challenges that they are facing. And that is wonderful, because as adults, sometimes we are not understanding that our children or the younger persons go through challenges while we are going through, and it's important to share with them. If you're not able to share on a level they can understand, get a support group, get a counselor to help them go through. And this is what has helped Alric go through the challenge and become successful while he is, and of course his other siblings were going through the challenge of the illness of their parents. Alric, thank you very, very much. And if you have, if there is one sentence to encapsulate everything, what would it be?
One sentence to encapsulate everything, the entire story and everything. The one sentence I would choose, go ahead.
No, you go.
The one sentence I would choose would probably be life will always be a fight, but every fight has a winner, and that winner will be you.
Wow. Say that again.
Life is a fight, and every fight has a winner, and that winner will be you.
Life is a fight, and every fight has a winner, and that winner will be you. Listeners, if you're viewing live or you will watch this some other time, take this, go through life. As you go through the challenges, remember life is a fight, and there is one winner, and that winner will be you. There is one comment I would like to share with you. Miracle Girl said, proud of your nephews. They make me smile. She also said, you show a very caring attitude. Hats off to you, my nephew. Hats off to you as a young man. I know for that young lady that will come into your life for you to share your love with, she will definitely have someone to care for her. Thank you.
No problem at all, and it's been my pleasure.
Listeners, share your comments. Let me hear from you. This is Miriam Edwards as we bring awareness to breast cancer and people who have gone through breast cancer, whether sharing with their parents or their siblings or their loved ones or their husband, wife. We just want to let you know that you're not alone. And as Alaric brings out the point very clearly, don't suffer in silence. You have support. As Hebrews would say, a great cloud of witnesses. Until next week, this is Miriam Edwards for another episode of Mindset Monday.